Hi loves, hope you're well. I just have to say, right, I was eating before I started to record, classic. Eating knickknacks. Look at the size of this knickknack. I'm not lying when I say 80% of the pack was like this. I probably had 5 normal size ones. Sleep with one eye open. Knickknacks. Like, count your days. Count your flipping days. Phoning. What's up with that? I feel like everything from my childhood and my youth has been taken away from me. First Diddy, and now this. Figmin, £1.25 down the drain. Okay, let's go straight into this week's thread. What's the craziest thing you've done to investigate a man? And I'm just going to rapid fire through them. Faked a credit check in his name to find out how much debt he was in. Smart. Saw his car parked in an apartment building, so I pulled the fire alarm to see who he came down with. Oh my God, that's such a good one. Took his phone and deleted 1 digit on each female contact. No, that's savage, because you just know there's like a colleague or a cousin in there that he's like, why can't I contact her? Wow. Paid a homeless man to stay in front of his house to watch him and see if there was a girl with him. I mean, it comes to something when you're trusting the homeless man more than you're trusting your partner. I feel like at that point, when you're handing over the cash to the homeless guy, at that point, you're probably going to think this has run his course. It's probably not a good idea to continue. Like, I will take this stranger's word who I'm paying over my partner's. Like, there's something's not quite lining up there. Hacked his email to find a hotel booking with another girl, so I cancelled it. Fair. Oh, she said, plot twist, I'm with him now, so now and then I'll just say, shall we book Nobu? Here, this a nice hotel. So she just triggers him now and again. She just drops it in that she knows, but he doesn't know she knows. She just likes to give him a fright every now and again. Wow. Blocked all 1,000 people he was following so I could see when he followed someone new. I've heard this before. I've seen this before on TikTok. Going through and blocking 1,000 people though, like the effort of it. Crazy. Oh, somebody else commented, you can download an extension to Google Chrome that shows followed and followers chronologically. Oh my word. And somebody said, I'm so glad my investigation days are over. Life is so peaceful over here now. Congrats, because this does sound like hell and torment. Like, obviously really good parts, but for the most part, it's just sounding like torture. Kept a spreadsheet of his following in chronological order on Instagram. Oh, opened a Tinder. Oh my God, this one's really smart. Opened a Tinder account using his number to see if he had one. Yes, he did. Oh, that's my favourite one, because that is so easy, quick. You've got your doubt or your intuition, and it's just quick and easy. You can go through and get your answer straight away. That's my favourite one. I dated his neighbour from across the street to stalk him. No. Checked his Spotify playlists every day to analyse the lyrics of each new song he'd added. You honestly couldn't pay me to get that information out of me. Because what is Spotify really going to tell you? Oh, this is another good one. Changed his ex's contact into my best friend's phone number, so if he ever reached out, it would be to my friend and she would alert me. I love the word alert as well. Oh wow, that's actually quite smart, assuming that he's deleted all their conversations and wherever. That's another smart one, quick and easy. Called up his uni to act like a reference check to see what degree he was enrolled in. Turns out he wasn't a med student after all. I mean, the fact that people are lying about that, but there's an old story on one episode when I talk about one of my exes, who I think he definitely started in uni, but I think dropped out or failed or something in his last year, and I never knew, and it was only 3 odd years later, I was on holidays with my friends, we were piecing stuff together, and we were like, do you know, I actually don't think he stayed in uni, and I think he lied. So I probably should have been doing some of this. Maybe I should stay in this TikTok section. That's what people are commenting, staying on toxic TikTok, good tips for the future. I found out what apartment building he was at through the reflection in his motorcycle helmet in a snap he sent me. These girls are the FBI. Like, at this point, you're probably better than the Met Police, no? How many unsolved cases are out there? If there's a bad guy out there, I think you need to contact his ex-partner, and apart from the fact she'd probably already know loads of his contacts, she can just pull out that spreadsheet. She'll also just have the time and energy to want to bring him down. So I think it's a good stance for the police. He sent me a picture saying he was in hospital, so I uploaded the picture to a metadata website to see when it was taken. So I've never heard of that before, but I guess it's a website that validates like where and when your picture was taken. She said it did work. Turned out he was lying about everything. You know my friend Abby who came on the podcast? This was last year, one of her episodes, and she had an ex that did that. He lied and said he was in hospital with like a brain tumour or something wild, like some full-on brain, like life or death injury. No, he was just having an affair. But he said he was in hospital. I think that's wild. Because how are you going to keep that lie up when you come out of hospital? Where's your scars? Where's your emotional trauma? You know, where's your weak body from being ill for so long? Like, you just can't come up with the receipts needed to pull off a lie that you're in hospital. It's just not worth it. Oh no, spent over £300 on Ubers following him and his friends the entire night. No, at this point, like, I have to draw the line because no man deserves £300 down the drain on taxis and all night spent. Like, you're better off just ending it for sure. Somebody said, I've typed and deleted about 6 different things because I sound unhinged each time. And somebody else said, don't delete this post, I want to refer back to it. Somebody else said, ladies, if you got to do all that, just leave him. Inner peace is so important, which I agree with. Okay, we'll do a couple more. He posted a picture with a girl after we broke up, and all you could see of her was a bracelet. I looked through his 3,000 followings for a bracelet and indeed found her. Jesus Christ. 3,000 people sitting there. And also, this isn't like looking through 3,000 people to see a name. This is like looking at them, looking at their pictures, zooming in on their wrists. Like, that's crazy. She also said, anyway, and she ended up crying, so I slept with him that night, which I'm not sure is a flex. I'm just going to throw that out there. Not sure. Oh my God, I noticed a number on our phone bill that was too frequent. Found the name. Turns out it was the girl he swore his friend was dating. I looked her up on Insta and she was pregnant with his child. That is disgusting. Drove to his house and connected my car to his phone so I could go through his messages on CarPlay. Somebody said, wait, can this even be done? How? I did not know that was a thing. My ex-boyfriend had gone on a date after we separated. He was always in contact with his ex. He uploaded a picture on the date and I was zooming in and I could see his ex's face in the knife on a table. Oh my God, if a guy is listening to this, never underestimate the power of the female brain and her friends, because they will Liam Neeson you. They will come find you and they will kill you. Be very afraid. Sleep with one eye open. That's all I can say. So I was walking home the other night and it was late because I'd been to my friend's. It was actually a birthday and my boyfriend put on a little surprise, like little house party for her. It was actually super sweet. But I was walking home, it was late. Because I missed my tube stop, can I just say. I haven't done that for such a long time. I wasn't drunk and I wasn't asleep. I literally just missed it. I was absolutely fuming. But anyway, would you girls, right, feel the same way as me, right, as I did in this situation? So I'm walking back, it's late, and I have to walk through this like little park area, and it's dark. It can be a little bit scary, even though it's not long. It's just, I don't know, you know, it's like as a girl, you always just think, oh my God, I'm going in a dark, quiet place. Like, let's hope nobody's lurking in the woods. Even though at this stage of life, there's probably just as much chance of me being hurt going out at 11 a.m. than there is walking through a park, do you know what I mean? But It's old school, innit? That thought of like somebody waiting behind a tree for you, like in the darkness. Anyway, so I'm walking through, right? And there's a guy now walking behind me, coming like to overtake me because I was holding back, because obviously I'd rather be behind a guy than in front of him. And obviously my initial thing is like fear. So it's like 12:30 or something. So I was a bit scared. And then when I looked, he had long hair that was like lovely, like long glossed hair. And I thought to myself, any guy that takes that good care of his hair isn't going to want to be in any type of nighttime scuffle with me. And I instantly felt safe, and I judged him purely on how he looked. And I just thought, no, he's not something I need to be afraid of. He's got moisturised hair, for Christ's sake. Like, there's just no way. And then as I was walking back, I was like, I'm going to ask the podcast girlies if they do that as well. Like, if there was like a big, bald guy, tall beefcake that, you know, was receding and had no hair on his head, immediate threat to me. Immediate threat. Long hair that's healthy and voluminous, non-threatening. It just made sense to me. And I was right, obviously, because he didn't even take one look at me. It's like, you know, that trend on TikTok, and it's people walking in the woods or like on hikes and stuff, and it's these guys, and I think they're gay, and they say like letting girls know that they're safe when we pass them on hikes, and like whenever they pass them, they're like, oh, girl, that view was given. So they don't look threatening, because obviously if it's a gay guy, then girls are usually like, okay, I'm safe. It's only the straight men, you know, the people are going to be frightened of. Other than Jeffrey Dahmer, obviously. Okay, and then I've got an anonymous question from one of you guys, so I'm really glad that you are using the link. But just a reminder, if you go on my Insta and like in the show notes on YouTube and Spotify and stuff, there's a link you can message me anonymously, and I can't see a name, I can't see who it is, I can't reply to you on there. So yeah, if you have got like a story or a question, and obviously you don't want me to know who you are, which is completely fine, then yeah, you can use the anonymous link as well. Or obviously if you want to send me a story and, you know, you don't care for me to know who you are, I always keep stories anonymous anyway, like, you know, I never say names and stuff. But yeah, if you don't mind that, then you can also just send me a DM on Insta. I'm at Sadie Maltby at lovewhatluck, and also send me an email, sadie@lovewhatluck.com. But anyway, we've got an anonymous one this week, and she said, I'm sorry if you've covered this before, but basically I want to know, is it normal for guys to be scared of commitment? I've been seeing a guy for a couple of months now, and he had a wobble this week because he felt the next stage was boyfriend-girlfriend, and he's not ready yet, and it stresses him out. What's your thoughts? Okay, firstly, I don't think it's normal for guys to be less scared of commitment than girls. I think it's just been normalised for girls to accept that. So I just think there's always this narrative that's been around for years that girls are nags and like boys just want to be free. And girls love relationships, and like when it comes together, the girls keep on, and like the guys always complain. And I just think that's a narrative that's just been around in the background for so long. It's just become normalised for a guy to be like, oh God, I'm scared of going to the next level. I just think it's bullshit. Like, girls lose more when in a committed relationship with a man, I think. Because if we're having families, if we're having kids, women lose more. We lose, you know, our bodies for those 9 months at least. We lose our minds. We lose our minds dealing with your shit. We lose our sleep with having you snore next to us like a hippo. We lose our freedom as well. Like, we lose just as much, if not more, especially if you're going down that stereotypical route where you get with somebody and you have kids and the man goes back to work straight away whilst we're at home with the kids, is still around wherever. And I'm not saying like lots of people want to do that by choice, fair. But, you know, it's not all sunshine and roses for us either. But for some reason, I think men can just say it, and I just think it's more widely accepted. I don't know if this maybe comes from, like, there is, if you really want to delve into the history of it, you know, like when you go back years, like caveman days, men had to impregnate all the women in the tribe at the same time so that, you know, if he died, like, obviously you could keep reproducing and hopefully, like, they'd give birth to a son to protect them. Like, there's obviously, like, actual genuine good reasons for it that's been passed down, but we're not in that fight or flight stage anymore. We're not in the caves. We're not fighting for our lives or our food, so back the F off with your excuses that, you know, you don't want to be tied down and you don't want to commit to one person. Like, get a grip of yourself, you loser. Okay, loser's a bit harsh. But what I will say is that's obviously not the case for everyone. And I think, in my experience, when a man wants to commit, he will, and he's happy to. And that's like from people obviously I've been with, like been in relationships with, but also friends of partners and stuff. When they're ready to commit, I think all that stuff goes out the window. And I do think men enjoy being in relationships, and they do want to be in relationships as well. Like, there's girls that don't want boyfriends, and there's boyfriends that don't want girlfriends, obviously. But I do think, like, lots of men, you know, do want partners as well. So I don't think you can tar everyone with the same brush. But this is where my opinion, I think, tends to differ from people's on the internet. I think on the internet now, and I've said this before, like, the message, especially for girls, is very much like, if a guy says he's not ready, he's lying and he's just not ready for you. Or, you know, if a guy says he doesn't want to commit to you, then never speak to him again, he's a dickhead. And I think that's valid advice, and it's probably come from people or girls that have experienced that. Like, there's obviously girls out there that, well, and guys, that have been told, I'm really not ready for a relationship or whatever, and then the next person they get with, they marry. Like, obviously that happens. And I think the message gets passed down as well, because, you know, you do hear that excuse a lot. Like, you know, my friends even said to people like, oh, I'm not ready for a relationship, sorry, when, like, she probably is, but, you know, she doesn't like him as much. And I think because of all that happens, like, a lot, when you hear stories like this, it just makes you think that they may be the same, and, like, your friends might be saying, oh, sack him off or whatever, based on their experience. But my opinion is that, you know, every situation is different. And sometimes when people say they're not ready, they really just mean it. And that's just what they feel. And it's actually got nothing to do with you. I've said the story before, but when I was 25 and I went to Bali to find myself, I was dating a guy. And I knew that I was, like, falling in love with him and stuff. And I knew he was going to be my boyfriend. But I really just wanted to go to Bali by myself. I was on this, like, crazy journey, like, cringe. And I was just like, I'm not ready yet. Like, I want to go, you know, to Bali, not in a relationship. And then, you know, when I come back, we'll get back together. His friends might have been like, what the hell? She just wants to go to Bali and, like, get with guys or whatever. And I'm sure if a guy said that to a girl, like, all your friends would be like, oh my God, you've got to F him off. Like, he can't even commit to you before going on a 2-week holiday. And I get it. But that was not the reason that I said that. I didn't get with anyone in Bali. The reason literally was that I was just going through shit and I just wanted to go by myself and not have to worry about, like, coming back and ringing a guy, or, do you know what I mean? So sometimes it has got nothing to do with you, and I just think we try to make things about ourselves all the time, me included. You try and make things personal, and, like, if a guy says he's not ready or whatever, I just think, like, we take all these messages that we've heard and we're like, oh, okay, well, he just doesn't like me enough then. And yeah, fuck off, well, you're a dickhead anyway for leading me on. But yeah, it's not always the case. Like, if somebody tells you that they're freaking out about getting into a relationship, that probably has got something to do with what's going on with it in their heads. Like, whatever issue they've got with a committed relationship, I would say, like, 8 or 9 times out of 10 is probably their issue, and yeah, it's got nothing to do with you. It's like, I was listening to Millie and Liam's new podcast this week. They were on Love Island, and they broke up, and on the podcast they said that he broke up with her. So basically, they won Love Island. Did they win Love Island? Yeah, I think they won. They were on Love Island, they came out, moved in together straight away. And obviously, they barely knew each other, really. Like, they just, like, how long is Love Island? 2 months or something? 6 weeks? So they were just on Love Island, came out, moved in with each other. And then he said that he just felt like he had lost himself. So he's from Wales, big up. And he said he was just living this life that he just wasn't used to, you know. Like, obviously, completely different job. He was living in Essex with her, like had none of his friends around, none of his family, like completely different lifestyle. Like he's a nature boy and he likes going on hikes and he just didn't like being away from Wales. I mean, who could blame him? It's the best place ever. So I think they did it for, I can't remember how long they said they were together, and then he just broke up with her. And like I don't think he spoke to her about it, because that's just classic, and then you hold everything in, and then he was like, I've just got to break up with you. So they separated and he moved back to Wales. And I mean, she didn't say this, but like she did say that they like saw each other a couple of times after they broke up, and she was like, oh yeah, I didn't tell anyone we were talking again. Because I can just imagine all her friends and family being like, oh, he's broken up with you because he can't deal with being away from home. Like, he obviously doesn't care enough about you. Because like I said, that's just like the narrative I think is always pushed down on us. When actually, it had nothing to do with that. He literally just had to go, get his head right. And now they're back together and they're doing long distance now because, yeah, he wanted to stay in Wales and it works out much better for them. So, yeah, sometimes, that's a very long way of saying that sometimes when people say they're not ready, it just means that, and it's got nothing to do with them not liking you. But what I will say is that doesn't mean that you've got to hang around and wait for them. Like, if you're with someone and you are really falling for them and getting feelings for them and they are not on the same page as you and that hurts you, obviously it's going to hurt your feelings. If you're thinking, oh my God, I really want to be in a relationship with you, and he's like, I'm not there yet, that could hurt, which I think it would. Then you've got to cut it off and you've got to think of yourself first. Someone says they're not ready to get into a relationship with you and they freak out, then that is fine. And I think you take your feelings out of it and say, okay, well, I know that if I keep seeing you like this, I'm going to keep falling for you and I'm going to get my feelings hurt. So let's just end it. And when you're ready, by all means, reach out. I might not still be you because I'm not waiting for you. But, you know, maybe. And then I think that way you're saving yourself from getting hurt. Even though it hurts at the time, I would much rather be like on my terms where you're saying, I can't do this, than down the line when you've just fallen more and more and more for them and then they say, no, like I'm still not ready. So I just think give them the time. Don't wait for them. Go live your life. Focus on you. Do your own thing. And then if and when they feel ready and they come back, if you are still single and you think, oh wow, he's come back and he seems like, you know, much more ready now and great, then yeah, get back with him and see how it goes. Or if he never comes back, then you know it actually was an excuse and then you're much better off without him anyway because he's a liar and he was not for you. So I just think it's win-win, you know. Actually, even on that podcast, Liam said, like, he was saying to her, well, you know, maybe I'll move back to Wales. And obviously, in her defence, she would be upset. And she straight away was like, well, there's no point then. As if you're going to go back to Wales, we're going to drift apart, we'll break up. No, there's no point. And he said, like, he was crying to his mother, being like, why has she said that? And it's so easily done, because from her head, she's probably thinking, you just don't love me enough. And you take it so personally when actually it probably didn't have much to do about her. Not that I know anything about their relationship. I just thought it's a good example. Oh, do you know another example of this, right? I found this girl on TikTok. She posts on something called Substack. And I'm going to sound 84 years old. I have no real idea what it is. I have subscribed to her on there to show my support, I think. But all I know is I found her on that and I signed up and I get her emails every Sunday in my inbox. And it's like a little article. It's like a little Carrie Bradshaw Sex and City dream thing that I'm involved in. Not me personally, obviously. There's lots of us. But that's what it feels like. She writes every week, like a little article. And then it comes into my inbox, right? And she had one about a situationship. And you should definitely read it if you're in any type of situationship or, you know, in something where the guy doesn't want the same thing as you. It's a really good read. I will link it and I'll link the Substack, but she posted the story on August 25th, right? And it's called What the F is a Situationship. And she starts by talking about her parents' love story. And she said they're on the Northern Line, I think, back in 1990 on Valentine's Day. And her father sees her mother fancies her, obviously, gets off the tube 2 stops early to chase her down, ask her for a number, and that's literally it. They get together, they get married, they have kids. Perfect, lovely, romantic, easy. And as she's writing it, she's saying, she's recalling that story, and then she's saying, and I'm just on my way now in 2024, on my way to meet an emotionally unavailable man from Hinge. Like, this is what I mean. Like, I still just love that old school romance. Although now if a guy chased me off the tube, I'd be like, are you a killer? You know, rapist? Crazy? Like, who are you? Obviously, we've got to have our wits about us now as well, haven't we? So to be fair, it is a lot harder, I think, for guys to approach you in public, but still, it would be nice if it happened, you know? But anyway, she was in a long-term relationship, and then she's single again, and it was like her first time dating from, like, when she was 16. She'd been in this long relationship, and obviously, hell and horror. Imagine the first time you're dating is current day, and it's the first time you're single since you were 16. Like, things are so different now. I know she's younger than me, but still, wow. But anyway, she meets a guy and he's perfect. He buys her flowers. He's basically, like, becomes her boyfriend. They see each other all the time and stuff. And then they lie in bed one night, she said, like, as he's literally pretending to be my boyfriend. And he says, I can't be anyone's boyfriend right now. And she said that she basically lied to herself that she was okay with it. And, you know, she was having feelings for him and probably wanted it to be more, but because she didn't want to get rid of him, like, in her, you know, in her life, she puts up with it, the casualness, and she pretends she's fine with it. And then a few weeks later, he calls her and ends it, and then obviously she's really hurt. But then she gets back up, she starts dating again, she meets another guy, and then the same thing happens again. They're lying in bed and he says, like, oh, we should probably talk about, you know, what we are. I'm not ready for a relationship. I've only been single for a few months, blah, blah, blah. And she acts different this time and she says, well, I don't want anything casual. And he says, okay, so what do we do now? And she says, I'm going to go. And she gets up and leaves. And I'm obviously not saying it's the same situation as the girl that wrote in, because they are point blank saying they don't want a relationship. They're not saying, like, you know, I'm not ready for you. Like, they both said, I can't be anyone's boyfriend right now. So I know it's different, but I feel like the sentiment is the same. Where, like, if somebody isn't on the same page as you, it is better to like, protect yourself, I suppose, and get up and leave and let them know, well, I'm not just going to go along with what you want. Like, it's not going to be good for me. And yeah, it's better to get up and leave and do your own thing. And I just think by doing that, you'll always feel so much better when you're doing what you want, even if it hurts at the time. Ultimately, you're always going to feel better, because there's nothing worse. There's nothing that's going to make you feel more shit about yourself than being with somebody that you don't feel like is fully into you or is fully into it, the relationship. Like, that's just not good for your mental health, to be around somebody like that. You're better off cutting them off. And you can still show them grace. But, you know, just do your own thing and then see what happens when they come back. Okay, in a complete conversation twist, my friend sent me a TikTok this week. It is the craziest thing. You might have seen her. Her name is Bonnie Blue. I don't know if that's a real name or a stage name. She's a British girl. She's a really pretty girl. And she is a prostitute or escort or sex worker. I don't know what she officially calls herself, but she's absolutely raking it in on OnlyFans. She made like 500 grand on there last month alone, which is obviously amazing. But she sleeps with guys. I think she sleeps with the guys for free, and then I think she films it for OnlyFans. But this girl, and that's where she gets her money, I think, because she did say that she was sleeping with them for free. But this girl, she goes through guys. Like, there's a world record of someone sleeping with 948 people in one day. One day. And she wants to beat her. Which, can you even imagine it? I can't even do the maths, but like, how long would it take? I don't know the logistics. I don't know if they've got to come to an orgasm for it to count. I don't know. But to me, that just sounds torturous. But anyway, she is fine. I think it was only the other week I was saying the story how against like sex workers I am, because I just don't think they can ever fully enjoy it. But at the minute, she seems to be loving life, and it seems to be very, she's safe, and I think that's always like obviously the main thing. But she said that she put her live location up, so I know she puts it on OnlyFans, wherever. She said where she was going to be, and she said, I'm going to be here, queue up, and I'll go through as many of you as I can. And she said to them then when they came, she said some of them are queuing for up to 8 hours, which is so mental, right? Because I guarantee if she wasn't a sex worker and she was a girl that, you met out, like as nice as she was and stuff, would a guy queue 8 hours to sleep with her? I'm not sure he would. So the fact he's doing it in a line of other people just shows it's like social experiment, isn't it? It's like something from the Black Mirror. Like, it's so stupid how the world works of like, oh, everyone's doing it and she's like a little bit famous. Let's do it for the plot almost. But ultimately, you're queuing 8 hours to sleep with someone. Like, how pathetic of you. Bizarre to me. And then she said to them anyway, you can either have 2 minutes with me alone or double it and pass it to the next person. This is only a clip I saw, so I don't know fully what she meant by that. I don't know if it means 2 minutes by ourselves or 4 minutes with another person. And basically she wanted to see like if they would do everything they'd said in those 2 minutes. And I think that day that she did that, she got through 137 of them, and most of them were 18-year-olds. I don't know if this is one story. There were so many, but like she sleeps with 18-year-olds a lot. And I think she's like 25 or something. She's definitely mid-20s. I don't think she's early 30s, but she's mid-20s. But she said she loves taking people's virginities. Which is mental. I would hate to take somebody's virginity unless it was my partner and we were both virgins. I would not like to take somebody's virginity unless I knew I was going to fall in love with them after, because I mean, it's worse for me now because obviously most people lose their virginity young. So that's also like, it's fucked up in my head. But even when I was younger, like if you're both virgins, fine. But like at 25 to take somebody's virginity away from them is, I would hate that. I don't know. I just, wherever. Anyway. I don't even know why, but I just don't like her. Oh, sorry, no. She slept with 137 18-year-olds in 1 week. Not one night. That's really bad. I've just put that out there. In a week, sorry, not a night. But still, 137 guys in a week. Crazy. But yeah, her mother's on the podcast with her, and she's saying how proud she is of her. I mean, she is making a lot of money, and the girl, when she's talking, like, she sounds so screwed on, and she's obviously like intelligent, and she definitely runs the show, you can tell. So it's good. But like she also said that her mother used to say to her when she was younger, like, don't be the village bike, and now she is the village bike, but she's paying their bills. And she said her father said he loves it and stuff. Crazy. But yeah, she also says she likes sleeping with husbands, and she doesn't cake. She thinks women are lazy, which, like, come on, why would you say that? Like, I just don't, I hate that thing of like girls not being girls, you know. It's just not nice. But I mean, everything else, I'm like, do you know what? You enjoy it, you're making money. She basically said she was bored of her 9 till 5. I mean, fair. And she wanted a way to make money, and she's done it. And for that, I applaud her, because I also think if it was a guy, she probably wouldn't even be on, well, she would be on a podcast, but it wouldn't be as shocking, you know. And even me, I'd be like, I would probably still say he was disgusting, just because, like, I would. But it definitely wouldn't have the same effect, 100%, if it was a guy saying that. Especially not from other men. I feel like men would be like, oh my God, like, well done, mate. And there's probably men that slut shame her, like, 100%. So there is part of me that's like, you know, well done you. But I'm also just like, how are you doing this? And it's got to have some sort of effect on you. At some point, you're going to look at your life and be like, I've had like a queue of men outside waiting to sleep with me. And I'm just sleeping with them back to back. I don't know, I just think obviously as a woman, I just can't imagine it. Doing that, like, willingly. It's just mental. So mental. Right, okay, I've got one more story for us to end on. My husband went on a last date with his ex a week before our wedding just to make sure. Oh, Lord. His ex was always the one that got away, according to everyone around him. He ended things with her because he didn't see a future with her, and everyone around him was so shocked because she was so good and so beautiful. I'm sorry, the fact this woman even knows this, like, isn't necessary. Imagine going in, you're meeting your partner's family for the first time, and friends, you're really excited, and all they say is how amazing his ex was, to your face. Keep it to yourself, please, Susan. Like, I don't need to hear that. You'd be so excited and wanting to make such a good impression, and then they're like, oh, his ex was lovely though. And nobody can believe he finished with her. We all said, you must be crazy finishing with her. She was so good to him and she was so beautiful. And anyway, where did you two meet? Come on. Oh my God. Hell on earth. Hell on earth. I remember my first boyfriend's ex was called Stacey. And when I met his mother, sometimes by accident, right at the start of our relationship, she used to call me Stace instead of Sade. And she'd be like, Stace, Sade. And I'd be like, don't get triggered. Don't get triggered. But, you know, that was bad enough. If she was actually like, Stacey was just so lovely, really, it was open, he was going to marry that one. But anyway, you staying for dinner? No, actually, my appetite's gone. Can you imagine? So rude. I'd be straight back and I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a shame. It's also a shame that you're not as nice as my ex-partner's family because they were lovely. And she made the best cottage pie anyway. Could never compete with you, you whore. Right, anyway, when we met, I soon understood that everyone on his side preferred her. He never gave me any reason to doubt him ever, though. He always gave me the impression that he knew exactly what he wanted. He was always secure enough, and he told me a couple of months into our relationship that he loved me, and I never thought he was lying about that. I never used to feel like I wasn't enough to him. He is fully aware of what people think about him leaving his ex, but he always gave me the impression that he thought it was silly and immature, and even told his mother that I'm the one. And if she wanted to be a part of that, she'd have to clean up her act. Good. I think, yeah, amongst all that, it's very key to have a supportive partner. I think if you were with a partner, right, that really makes you feel so good and so confident, then you've really not got very many issues. Like, if they are very reassuring, especially as girls, we need reassurance. I think if they are reassuring with you on how they feel and, you know, how they fancy you and how you make them laugh or how you do this and that. Yeah, if you have like a really good enough partner and a good enough relationship, I think that's so nice that even though she's getting all this from other people, she feels like what she gets from him overrides it all. And I think that's really sweet. She said, we got married 3 years ago now, and I only just recently found out, oh no, that he went on a date with her a few days before our wedding. Oh, she didn't know. Okay, so I retract everything then. The relationship wasn't as good. No. Oh, no. No. No, it's all I can say. Like that good Jim Moffat of Dibley. Oh, no though, why wouldn't you tell her? That's the worst thing you can do. Oh, he's in my bad books now. This is the worst thing you can do. If he had said to her, I want to go and meet my ex, and she was okay with it, completely different, fine. But to go and meet your ex on the sly a week before the wedding and not tell her, bear in mind this is 3 years later, I think. Yeah. Been married 3 years ago and I only just recently found out. That is 3 years he has known about that and he hasn't told her. That to me is more hurtful than the act itself. The act itself is hurtful. What, you're going to see your ex right before you marry me? Outrageous. Horrible. Don't like that at all. But that's one thing. Could I forgive it? Oh God, I don't know. I don't even want to have to think about it, to be honest. I don't know. Could I forgive the lie for the 3 years? No, I actually don't think I could. And I'm a forgiving person. That would just eat me away. Because 3 years at that point, like, you've built your relationship, you're so happy, you're in your marital bubble. Oh, that would just ruin it. That would just shit all on my parade. That would just be like having a massive pigeon just shit in my face and my food, and me have nothing to do with it. I'm a very strong reaction to this one. I just don't like the lie. This is like, when people say, oh, I'm more upset about the lying that he had an affair than the affair. That I've never fully understand, because I think the affair is very hurtful. This is the one story that I can understand, that the lie is so much worse. So she just found out he went on a date with her a few days before our wedding. So I guess he wanted to know that she wasn't like what everyone else thought and the one that got away. He wanted to be 100% sure. If you're not 100% sure, then why have you gotten down on your knee and proposed to me, sir? Why are you standing at the altar with me, exchanging vows, if you're not 100% sure with me? I'm sorry. Bow off with your handwritten vows and your dicky bow. I only want somebody at that altar with me if they're 100%. Not scouring round the past just to make sure. Because what would have happened if he did go? And she was better. Like, oh, no. Oh, I guess worse. His mother told me gleefully, she's a bitch, when she visited our new baby, oh, they got a baby, and she looked at my daughter and said she wondered what would have happened if he had changed his mind after that date. God. There's some people that are just hell-bent on ruining other people's lives and just bringing unhappiness into the world, isn't there? And there's just no need for it. Like, why have you just got a shit in my face? Why? Oh my God, Susan's having a field day. I haven't spoken to him for a week, and I hate the silent treatment, but I just can't face talking to him. I'm not trying to punish or manipulate him. I just can't look at him right now. Am I the arsehole for ignoring him? No, I can't stress that enough. Oh my God. You'd have to move. I would have to probably move out or just like stay somewhere else for a bit. I also do the silent treatment, and it's not like a punishment. You know, like when you read that people do the silent treatment out of like, I don't know, to punish their partner and stuff. It's not that, but if somebody annoys me, I just like to keep my distance whilst I deal with it. You know, I don't like big shouting rows. I like time to gather my thoughts and think about things and just lock myself away, really. It's probably not the healthiest thing to do, but I understand that. Oh my God, guys, could you forgive that? Could you forgive it? It would seem so... No, it wouldn't seem stupid. I don't know. It would seem stupid to throw away a 3-year marriage when you've been completely fine. But how would you ever get over that lie? It's a pretty big lie that he's been harbouring for a long time, you know? Do you know, actually, I quite recently had an ex-partner reach out to me, and I found out that he was seeing somebody. So I was just like, disgusting, wherever, bye. And my friend was telling her boyfriend, and he said, this is, obviously we don't know any of this is a hot take, but her boyfriend said that he could be about to be getting serious with somebody and feels like Sadie is maybe the one that got away and is just want to reach out just to like see. And that is apparently what guys do then, is it? Just before they... Again, I don't know this. This isn't facts. But do people do that? We've had stories before. There was a story I remember like 2 years ago where a woman had found a letter or an email that her husband had sent his ex before their wedding. But that was a bit different. He was basically like apologising for how he treated her, but saying like that he does still sometimes think about like what their kids would look like and stuff. Oh, it's so scary. Is nothing sacred? Like, is nothing sacred? If you get married to somebody, like, grow up. If you're not 100% sure, don't get down on your knees. It just makes me think, like what I've said before, guys must feel some pressure to get married as well, because Because why else are you doing it otherwise? Why do you want to get married to somebody that you're not 100% sure of? Well, it's like, I've said it before, I'm sure, a girl I used to work with, her husband was having an affair the whole time, right? Before they even got married. So when they actually got married, the girl that he was having the affair with was a guest at the wedding, which was outrageous. And they were still having the affair the whole time. And then he broke up. They're on their honeymoon. Or on their honeymoon. What was the point of proposing, getting married, doing any of it? They broke up on the honeymoon. He's with the girl now. I don't know. The last update I had was probably about 8 years ago. What's the point though? Disgusting. It's like what I said last week, marriage. Marriage these days doesn't mean the same thing as it used to everybody. But, there's still lots of people out there where it does, guys. I still believe in marriage. I still like it. And I would never say, I was going to say I'd never say yes to somebody, but, with Carrie and Aidan in Sex and City, she says yes to Aidan and she basically doesn't want to marry him. And when they say to her, why did you say yes? She's like, because the man I loved is on his knee in the street. You don't say no to that. So that I can understand. But I'd never go through with the wedding. It's the same with her. She never got through to the wedding. And he asks her, she says she needs more time. And he goes, the end of the year. And she goes, which year? Oh, wow. Like taking a bullet, imagine. Yeah, tricky guys. Tricky week this week. Tricky week. Lots of dilemmas out there. If you have got anything to share or to ask, then remember the anonymous link and email me, sadie@lovewhatluck.com, or come find me on Instagram. And I will speak to you next week. Thank you so much for listening.